Dr. Fair, if you could take attendance.
Okay. Commissioner William Cheshire. Commissioner Angela Flowers.
Commissioner Flowers present.
Commissioner Hannah Jimenez.
Commissioner Jimenez present.
Commissioner Kathleen Linker.
Commissioner Kathleen Linker present.
And Commissioner Lindsay Sice.
Commissioner Lindsay Sice present.
Okay, so you have a quorum, you have 4 present.
Okay, and the first order on the agenda is the approval of minutes, and we have 2 to consider, so we're going to take them one at a time. And we'll start with the first one, which is from June the 11th. If everyone's had a chance to look over them and there are no questions, we can entertain a motion to accept in a second.
A motion to accept.
So Commissioner Flowers made a motion to accept. Can I have a second?
Commissioner Sice, I second.
Thank you, Commissioner Sice, for the second. Dr. Fair, if you can go through the list and we'll vote yay for yes, nay for no.
Okay, Commissioner Angela Flowers.
Commissioner Flowers, aye.
Commissioner Hannah Jimenez.
Commissioner Jimenez, aye.
Commissioner Kathleen Linker.
Commissioner Linker, aye.
Commissioner Lindsay Sice.
Commissioner Sice, aye.
All right, so everyone agreed?
Agree with that one. So that gets the next minutes, draft minutes were from July 2nd. So give everyone a second, make sure you don't have any questions. If not, we can entertain a motion to accept the minutes from July 2nd.
Commissioner Jimenez, motion to accept.
So motion to accept from Commissioner Jimenez. Can I have a second?
Commissioner Sice, second.
And a second from Commissioner Sice. Dr. Fair, if you can.
Sure. Commissioner Angela Flowers.
Commissioner Flowers, aye.
Commissioner Hannah Jimenez.
Commissioner Jimenez, aye.
Commissioner Kathleen Linker.
Commissioner Linker, aye.
Commissioner Lindsay Sice.
Commissioner Sice, aye.
All right, everyone has agreed.
Okay, so that gets us down to our work. When we left off last time, we were working on some 2 different parts. We were working on Commissioners Jimenez and Sice were working on a video for using some pictures that we had. And if we need to find more, we can work on that later. But I think I put all that I had in a folder, and I think you guys are finished with the actual video. And then the other thing we're going to do is look at suggestions or things that we would like to ask for the advisors from last year to submit a short little video clip that we can also use in our advisor Canvas module. So those 2 parts for the Canvas module are the first 2 things we need to talk about. So Commissioner Flowers, do you want to talk about the advisors' reflections and prompts for the video that we're going to ask them to make?
Sure. This is Commissioner Flowers. I was just trying to think back about, as an advisor myself, I've done it a couple times, what things would have made it easier for me. So I know you guys have had a chance to look at it, but we'll just go over it quickly. Dr. Fair, did you recommend changing reflection from reviewers to evaluators? I think I was just thinking it was alliterative, but I can change it to the evaluators.
No, if you were using the official terminology, it would be advisors. But if you're just speaking in reference to them being reviewers, then it could be reviewer.
Okay. So you'll just pipe in, was the evaluation process a valuable professional learning experience? Why or why not? I think that's important to get them to reflect on that as it being more than just a job, that it is meant to be a learning opportunity. How likely are you to recommend the experience to other teachers? Did this process change your perspective or understanding of the North Carolina Standard Course of Study? That's just personally, because I know it really helped me understand at a much deeper level by going through that process for science and math. What, if anything, would you do differently? If I knew then what I know now, what recommendations would you make to the textbook commission for consideration regarding any part of the evaluation process over the course of the week? And you guys might not like this one. Over the course of the week, the people seem to settle in to do the work. And in order to help future advisors settle in sooner, what tips might you offer, knowing what you know now? Because I think it takes a while to get started, and that's valuable time that I know causes them to have to crunch and be under pressure later on. So I was trying to think what could make that beginning a little smoother. Comments?
Commissioner Linker, I think that they were all really good reflection points. I think that the last two are especially, well, three even, for us as commissioners to know as we plan ahead to improve the process for sure. I don't know how hard it is because I'm not that technical savvy, but perhaps someone else on the commission knows if we could edit out some of it, because we're going to take snippets of different advisors and make a bigger presentation or video. So maybe some of that wouldn't need to be in what we want to show to potential advisors, but is definitely something that we would need, if that makes sense.
Commissioner Jimenez, as long as if they want to answer like all 5 questions in a single video file, it's not difficult to cut it up and like have it in different sections so that we can make a movie for advisors of what they need to know, but also maybe make a video file of like what we as commissioners can do to make their experience better and things like that as well.
Right. I think we get more from them if we could keep one video and hit all the excellent points for them to consider. Thank you.
Commissioner Flowers, I agree. I think those are good points. And plus, we could just take the best answers from whoever, not necessarily use every answer from every person.
Especially if we get a lot of things to choose from, it would give a good view to show lots of different people giving input. I have no recommendations at all for change. I think you did an excellent job. The questions were very thoughtful, and I appreciate how you approach it as both a former advisor and a current and a commissioner.
You're welcome. If you also looked at the first document that I hopefully shared with everyone, you can see my train of thought was kind of like thinking like, wow, this is really a higher order thinking process that we're asking them to do. So I think that started like a whole nother conversation that we can talk about at a later date about functioning at that high level of evaluation.
And Commissioner Linker, I did have a chance to view both of them, and I think we're all on both of them. Maybe since if everyone hasn't seen them, maybe they didn't realize they had two. That some again very good points in the additional stuff for consideration for the evaluation part. Definitely something that would be part of this module when we talk about what does an evaluation look like. And bringing it back to Bloom's taxonomy, I think was a very strong point. I know that when in the past, when the consultants from DPI have trained us, they tend to bring in some Bloom's too, so it'll be like a continuing thread to the actual training on the criteria sheets.
I agree. Thank you.
Does anyone have any other comments, or are we happy with what we've got? We think that's doable to ask to push out to some advisors.
Commissioner Jimenez, yeah, I think it's great. I already had one of an advisor that's done it previously look over the questions and kind of start working on her video, and I think it really answers all of the questions that advisors might have, as well as like helped me see it from a different perspective as well.
I've also asked that I personally knew have done it a couple of times to look at the questions, and they've agreed to also do the video. They're just waiting for us to finalize it. So given that, I don't think there seems to be anything that needs to be changed. So Dr. Fair, are you able to take that reflections from reviewers and push that out to advisors in general from last year?
I would just need for somebody to either send it to me exactly like you want it to go out with directions that they need to follow, so that they're giving you whatever product you want them to send to submit. So if you could give me directions as well as the questions, then I can send it out.
Commissioner Flowers, are you comfortable with doing that?
Commissioner Flowers, yes, I will send that out to you, Dr. Fair.
And then as soon as you get that, Dr. Fair, you could go on and push that out to especially the advisors from last year.
And you want it to be everyone.
Yeah, I think the more possibilities, the broader the experiences we're going to pull from. I'd like to make sure that we have some EL and EC voices on it. The two that I asked are both content classroom elementary range students, teachers.
This is Commissioner Flowers. Should I create like a Canva thing that has a heading or something like "We need your help" or something like that, rather than just the template? Is that what you're looking for, Dr. Fair?
I'm just basically looking for whatever you can provide for them to know exactly what you're wanting them to do, so that they're clear about it, like the specifics of, you can do your advertisement, we need your help and all that if you like, but the specifics of, do you need them create a video? You need it to be about this, answer these questions, whatever it is that you're wanting them to do, I need to be able to give them clear directions. So however you want to send it to me, you can, make it pretty, or you can send the verbiage, and it's up to you. But I'll send out whatever you send to me. I just want it to be something that's clear, so that they can make sure that they send what you need.
Commissioner Flowers, have we discussed what they are to do with it after they make their little video or their written response, or however they maybe want to do it? Have we decided where?
No, we haven't. Dr. Fair, do you want it sent to you since you're sending it out? Do you want a contact person? Do we want to make a Google folder that they can drop it in?
What would be easiest for you all? Because you all will be working with whatever they send back in. So what would be the easiest way for you all to get that information and be able to process it?
Commissioner Jimenez, I think the easiest way would be to keep it all in one place. So on the Google Doc, maybe at the top, we can write like the directions for how they're supposed to make the video and answer the questions. And then at the bottom, we can include the link for the Google Drive where they have to click and upload their video. That way it's all like whenever we need to access any of the information related to this, we just go to that one Google Doc and everything we need is there. Thoughts?
This is Commissioner Flowers. Then I may not be the right person for that task, honestly.
If we make a Canva, could we not hyperlink the Google information in it?
No, because when you export it, you're going to export it as an image and
That's
links don't work within an image.
So we would need to, but what if we send it out as a Google slide?
Yeah, I mean that'll work.
So then we could put the image of the Canva on the back and hyperlink it on the slide?
Yeah, I mean, if you want to do something in Canva, you just export it as an image, and then you can
Yeah.
put it at the top of the Google Doc or the Google Slide or anything in Google.
Yeah.
I was just trying to think like when we go back, to it, what's the easiest way for us to go and pull all of those videos in order to start splicing them and getting the information we want.
Yeah, definitely having it in a Google Drive will be the best. Also, a good way to put it if it's a longer video, because sometimes a longer video you can't attach as an email. So Commissioner College, if you want to make the Canva like a flyer that way and then download it on your computer as an image, then you can, if you want to let me know when you're at that point and email it to me, or I can make a doc and talk you through how to drop it onto it, and we can work on that part together.
Okay.
So I'm on the timeline, so I'm going to put and what do you think, in your opinion, Commissioner Jimenez, it's easier to put it on a Google Doc than in a Google Slide? I mean, I know they're both going to be, an image is going to be on it, but what's going to be the easier way to link things to? The same?
Commissioner Menez, yeah, I think they're pretty much, the functionality is going to be the same. So it's really just a preference at that point.
Do you have any preference? You're probably going to be the lead person on the video.
No, because I'm not really going to deal with whether you choose Google Docs or Google Slides. I'm just going to be working in that folder probably more. So I don't have a preference.
I'll make a folder in our Google Drive, because that's housed where it can be easily accessed within our subcommittee. Like I put the pictures. I can either put it in that same folder as the pictures. No, I think I'll just make a different folder for that, saying in our subfolder, and link it to that.
Okay, yeah, I think that sounds great.
And then if we send it out as a Google Doc, as a view only, I mean, like, do we want them to have access to that folder other than dropping videos into it?
No. So, sorry, Commissioner Menes. Another thought would be, if it's view only, are they able to open the links?
Yes, I don't think so.
So then the question would be, a way to collect it would be through a Google form, because you can upload files that way.
So do the Canva on a Google, do the Canva thing, put it on a Google Doc and hyperlink a thing to the form.
Yes, because then we have to make sure that we send it. It can't be view only. We have to send it in a way where they can click the link.
Well, they can click the link to the Google form, but then they won't be able to see where their Google form stuff goes to once they click on that, right?
Yeah, that keeps it a little bit more protected.
Okay. So when we get to that point, if you'll go behind me, just make sure I have the privacy set on that pretty well. I'm pretty good with that because of what we use it at school with student information, but just to kind of make sure.
Okay.
So I'm going to make probably a Google Doc with what Commissioner Flowers sends. and I'll hyperlink it to a Google form that will make, and you might have to talk me into, I've never done a Google form where you upload stuff, so I might need you to, once, if I can't figure it out,
Okay.
hyperlink to a Google form to submit video. So if you can do like the general, Commissioner Flowers, the, you know, what we want them to do with the reflection part on a Google thing, I can put it on the Google Doc, and then I can put a little something about the directions to how to upload it through the fold, through the Google form. Or you could put in it, you know, click on the link to the Google, they'll take you to a Google form where you can upload, where you will upload your video.
Okay.
Just put that in your directions. Just put in your directions that, you know, when they've completed their video, to click on the Google form link below and upload their video that way. And then, so the Google Doc will actually just be the image that you send. I'll hyperlink the thing to the Google form on it, and then we'll send it to Dr. Fair to send out. If we can try to do that this week would be awesome, because I start next week back in the building with some things.
This is Flowers. I can try to work on it this afternoon and get something in the folder for you and let you know.
Great. If you need anything, just let me know. I'll be around. Okay. I think we're good for that. So make Google Doc with hyperlink to Google folder for video submissions. Linker and Flowers. We'll try to get that done by, let's say, next Tuesday, which is, put my calendar, 28th. Right. So that takes care of that. Next would be the video. I know Commissioner Mendez, you and Commissioner Slice have worked on completing that. I'm not really sure where we're wanting to see it at, but take it away.
Yeah, Commissioner Jimenez, the video is completed. I uploaded it to YouTube and just finished all the subtitles and everything, so it is now uploaded into the Canvas course. I also added a PDF version of like the script in case people wanted to like have that separately after they watch the video as well.
And where in the course did you put it?
It's on Evaluate.
I'm gonna mute myself so I can play it without it playing loudly. Okay, I'm back. If everyone else had a chance to look at it, or if you want to have any conversation, I can say I was like, wow, that's awesome. That's like so great, Commissioner Jimenez and Commissioner Sykes.
I had nothing to do with it. That's all Commissioner Jimenez.
That is so much better than bullets on a PowerPoint. Very clear, very detailed.
Thanks.
This is Flowers. I agree. That's awesome.
Thank you. Thank you. Anything, or Commissioner Jimenez, anything that needs to be added or anything?
You hit every point on the brain sheet, the brainstorming list that we'd come up with, and did it very clearly and concise. Even labeling the photographs. That was really good, and makes it very clear. I think that, and then when we do the video, the advisors kind of talking about their experience, I think that will really set up the stage for evaluation week. And with that, I think basically our timeline, that I think that's kind of put the evaluation piece is done. If you all would agree to that, I mean, I think that covers everything, the video. So our timeline would be, and the next steps would be to work on the advisors piece and to put that in. Am I leaving anything out?
I don't think so. I think although I did want to, what did you want under the debrief section, in the advisors course? Like,
You talked about some of that in the video, right?
Yeah. That's why I uploaded it under evaluate and thought maybe we could just combine the two.
Yeah, I totally agree.
Okay.
We can change the heading of the page. Or they can say evaluation week because debriefing is part of the evaluation week, and we'll just get rid of the other one.
Yeah, I don't want them to, I mean, that's why I kind of mentioned debriefing in the video. I don't know if we need to like make it a whole separate thing, because it just be one more thing for them to stress out about. And like, it's not like we can give them a little bit of information about it, but they're still gonna not truly understand it until they're there.
I don't think you can truly understand what that is until you're there and get into the material and see how it flows.
Exactly.
We can hit the main points and show the video even again in the opening.
This is Flowers. Can I just ask a question? Does the debriefing, are we okay with the way it's going, or is that something else that kind of needs to be talked about maybe at a later date to move it into the next century or whatever, just like we're trying to do this other stuff? Because it just seems like last year wasn't maybe the most efficient.
Do you mean our debriefing or when we debrief the advisors?
Advisors.
Commissioner Jimenez. Well, and that's why I tried to make it a point in the video to say, like, make sure that your thoughts are heard, but if someone's already said your thoughts, please don't say them again. Because I find that is what I think really just made it stretch on for way longer than it should have, because we heard 7 different people kind of say the exact same thing. And it's also why at the end I said, 2 to 3 comments like per resource, unless you're saying something that's absolutely different. And I think maybe if they have that thought in their head going into it, instead of on the morning of or afternoon of debriefing, we, and they walk in the room, we say, oh, and by the way, only say one or two things. Like I think in their head they've already started concocting what they want to say if they are going to be one that talks a lot. And I think if we give them that information a little bit earlier, maybe we can change how that goes.
I think that the video did a good point of, like you just said, Commissioner Menez, kind of keeping them focused. I will say that after thinking about, and I can't remember if we talked about this or if it's just my reflections on it, but I know we kind of liked how one grade level, how it was convenient, I should say, for one grade level to come up with a list and a spokesperson. But on reflection upon that, I don't really want to go back to that format because I feel like everyone didn't necessarily have a voice, and it made it appear to be a group effort, and it's supposed to be individual, which I feel like Jimenez did a good job of saying, your comments should be your comments.
I agree with everything I was saying, but if this is kind of related to that first document that I sent out, that I think maybe some of the problem, and again, this might be for a future conversation, is that when they start evaluating some people that have such different approaches to doing it from the beginning, that sometimes it seems like when we hear like contrary comments from the advisors in the debriefing, you're wondering like, how can people see it this way and how can somebody see the same thing that's put in front of them entirely different? You know what I'm saying right now?
Yeah, I know. I kind of get what you're saying, but I also don't think that we should try to influence what, as long as they're using the criteria sheet, what it is that they're finding.
That's true.
And I think that's why our like whenever we get, especially those resources where we have people that see two completely opposite points of view, like that's when we just have to, like, that's a resource like I'm going to start and I'm really going to dig through and see, because that's what I'm going to spend more time on, because I want to be able to try and see both perspectives and then kind of understand my own thoughts around it. At least that's kind of how I approached it.
Yep, good point.
I think if we just go in and maybe as a commission, we are on the same page, and this is something that we can add to the commission thing, is that we make sure that, we make it clear that we do have your thoughts. We have your sheets. So, you don't have to give us everything, just the thing that struck you the most, pros and cons. Like, we want the good and the bad. And then also reiterating to them, like we did a couple times, that it's you're not debating, you're sharing information.
Mm-hmm.
True.
Taking a second, I'm looking back over the things that you put on, Commissioner Powers, that you put on the longer form. Make sure I'm not missing anything.
I did kind of simplify on one page where it's like the chart and it goes from questions for them to ask themselves when they're beginning the process, like the knowledge questions, then the comprehension, and then the analyze. And after they get the big picture, how the pieces and the parts fit together to meet the publisher's whole, then they go straight to the criterion sheet.
Yeah, and I do think that's a good point. It's just, you look at the big picture and the program overall and then break it down into its components with the criteria sheet, that they need to have that big picture to be successful. And I think that's important to say, but I know that because that's how I would approach it, but I'm not sure that everyone looks at the big picture. Some people naturally look at the pieces and then put it together. Like they see the trees where I see the forest. But as long as we're coming to the same um, end product, not the same comments, but the same end purpose of using the criteria sheet.
I was just trying to help maybe like at the get go because it takes some people a while just to wrap their head around the process. And it's
Yeah.
like before they know it, that whole first day is gone.
Yeah, and maybe we'll get some good insight from the advisors on what they wish they'd known beforehand that would kind of help firm that up a little bit, maybe. But yeah, I think they spent a lot of time that first day just figuring out where to start and what to do. And so any kind of direction that we can give them on that may stop some of that time. I wouldn't say wasted, but it's just a lot of time. Yeah, that they're learning the process on that first, especially that first publisher, but they end up spending more time trying to figure out how it goes together than actually using the criteria sheets and evaluating.
Agree, and but I think you're right that hopefully we'll get a good response from previous evaluators, and that may help alleviate some of that.
I also think having this front loading this video before they get there is also going to help, because in the past they come in the door, the first they hear about it is when we do the overview, and then it's boom, jump in. So it gives them a chance to kind of get an overfeel for it and then ask questions if they have questions.
I agree. I think everyone's done an awesome job. I think it's going to be such an improvement.
So for the timeline purposes, finishing the thing for the advisors and working on that video is what I added to the timeline, and we've completed the video that was just added to the course. Am I forgetting anything else that we need to address in the next week and a half? I'm not sure where everyone else is. I know that a lot of people in the state haven't even actually officially made their decisions yet, but I think we're all starting to get an idea of how we're going to hit the ground running with school starts in 2 weeks. And I feel like everybody's going to be really overwhelmed or extremely busy adjusting. And I want to kind of put to bed what we can put to bed, knowing that we're going to have to like at least take a little 2 week till everybody gets their feet wet and ready and up and going into whatever your new year looks like. I will say that as far as peer reviews, we've reached out to some former experienced commissioners to give us a peer review for the commission thing course, and look at some of the advisor course just to get another eye on the process. And I would kind of like possibly someone at DPI to give us a look at it as well. So it looks like the courses are kind of somewhat wrapping up. Do we want to look and see when we want to meet? I know, Jimenez, you had a date specifically that's your start date. That's like next week, right?
No, my district hasn't even decided yet, so I won't be back in the building. Well, tomorrow's a vacation week for me, or next week is a vacation week for me, and then I'll be back the next week. But I can work on video as soon as things start coming in. I'll start cutting and putting things together.
Do we want to make a deadline for when we want the videos submitted? If we're looking at getting it out to them by Monday, you know, everything ready up so Dr. Fair can send it out, say Monday. At what point do we want to put a deadline on to have the videos in? Give them a week. That puts you into the week you start school.
No, no. That the week August 3rd through August 7th would be a great week for me to work on this video.
Okay. So if we commit to having it ready for Dr. Fair to push out on the 27th, and then we give them until August the 3rd.
I think that's perfect.
And then try to meet back as a commission on the 6th.
That sounds good.
Anyone else have a chance to pull up and see what that looks like for you?
Commissioner Sites, I'm fine with that. I don't go back until August 10th.
Okay, so videos due submitted by the 3rd, and then we can meet on August the 6th. Dr. Fair, if you can send out a doodle poll for times.
Okay.
And for the peer reviews, I'll push a deadline out to them for also August the 3rd. So that when we meet back, we should have a good part of that completed. I'm making notes on the timeline. So like I'm down at the bottom of it. If y'all go and look at it, I'm on like line 36, 37. So the peer review. Video submissions by the 8/3. Okay, I think I've captured those on the timeline. Okay, so brief summary. I've got Lincoln Flowers working on the things that's going to be sent to the advisors, putting it in a Google Doc, hyperlinking it to the Google form for them to submit it, and it'll go to the Google folder for access. We will have our part to Dr. Fair by the 27th for her to push out to advisors, asking to have videos submitted by August the 8th, and then we're going to meet at a time to be determined on the 6th. Dr. Fair, do you need anything from us other than the document?
No, I think that's all.
If I've captured everything, then I think we're probably okay to adjourn unless someone has any questions. If not, we can entertain motion to adjourn.
Commissioner Jimenez, I make a motion to adjourn.
Commissioner Jimenez made the motion. If I can have a second.
Commissioner Sice, second.
Commissioner Sice with the second. Dr. Fair, if you can call a vote.
Commissioner Angela Flowers,
Commissioner Flowers, aye.
Commissioner Hannah Jimenez,
Commissioner Jimenez, aye.
Commissioner Kathleen Linker,
Commissioner Linker, aye.
and Commissioner Lindsay Sice.
Commissioner Sice, aye.
So all in attendance have agreed.
Okay, with that, we will meet back on the 6th. Have a great week and 2 weeks. Enjoy your vacations if you have any, and look forward to hearing from you then. With that, I am signing off.
All right.